Look at this man with a snake around his neck. Fortunately, his partner was nearby, or he could go to heaven early. And the reason he got tangled up in a snake, all because now the alligator season is over. I had to catch pythons for a living, and you need your hands to catch a python. At the same time, in the Florida swamp, there's an army of cold-blooded killers out there. That's all kinds of snakes. They're taking over the swamp, decimating the local animal population. And snakes are aggressive and breed fast. And these invasive species, it was released here by the original people. And a snake can hatch up to 100 eggs a year. It can reach 20 feet in length as an adult. They can weigh more than 200 pounds. And they've eaten it by now. More than 90% of the local small mammals. They don't have any predators here. So the government of Florida, a reward has been issued to fight the snakes. Attracted many people to hunt. But pythons aren't the only threat. There are also many poisonous snakes invading the area. And Troy's getting calls from his friends. He took his son Chase right away, and Zach and Bruce. At the time of the gathering, the man who called for help, Bill, showed up in a Bigfoot. Bill, after a greeting, told them about the purpose of this time. In order to protect their own safety, we could catch 20 pythons today, although this is the first time most of the people here have caught a snake. But this did not stop the burning hearts of the crowd. Bill introduced them on the way. There's 300 acres of swamp. Among them are many large animals, although crocodiles are still the most common threat. But other animals are not to be underestimated. After 2 hours of turbulence, finally arrived at Bill's camp. Even though this place looks pretty shabby on the outside, but it's also broken on the inside. But the good news is we have everything we need. Bill had a pep rally when he got off the bus. First, they split into 3 teams, and then some motivational nonsense. Like most leaders, not a lot of useful words. Then Bill took Chase to get his things. After taking the boat to Chase, I told him again what to do. After speaking, he set off alone. That's a hell of a lot to lose. And Bill took Bruce and Zach with him to their starting point and asked again to catch the snake, put it in a bag, and hang it on a tree. Then the 2 men took the bags and set off to get the python they want. And Troy and Bill on the other side drove the Bigfoot deep into the Everglades. Although there are many stones along the road, Bubby 2 people buttocks pain, but they seem to be holding out. After running 9 miles to the python's favorite environment, Troy stood up as soon as he arrived. Maybe the ass can't take it anymore. That's when Troy found a python. After the 2 men rushed all the way there, found a python in the grass. Although the python had wrapped itself around Bill's leg. But Troy's already back with the bag. After putting this python in a bag, Troy, it was an emotion. I don't want my first snake to be this exciting. This is making me want to grab it. And this snake is 12 feet, 100 pounds. It also brought in $400 for the hunters. And Bruce and Zach on the other side, trying to find their first snake. Although Zach has a little experience, but Bruce was having none of it. And pythons are good at camouflage, making it hard for 2 people to see them. Even holding my head up in front of you, could have missed it. And looking for snakes in a swamp like this, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Although snakes are hard to find, but if you step on a snake, then it's going to take a sharp bite. They hurt, but they found the python. The 2 searched for another hour, suddenly heard a mysterious voice. The 2 of them rushed over immediately. It turned out that a python made it. Even if this snake is very strong, but it's not as good as working together. After throwing the snake in the bag, that's how they make $400. It also gives them a lot of confidence. After hanging the 11-foot snake from a tree, then he looked for the python again, and 2 miles from them. Alone, Chase was deep in the swamp, and the tools he uses are traditional vehicles. The punting boat helps Chase see far away, but that doesn't give him peace of mind. I'm afraid I'll get lost here and spend the night in this dangerous environment. Chase, after all, had no experience with snakes. After rowing for a while, Chase found a snake, and I'm getting ready to feed myself with bird eggs. Chase immediately came to the rescue, got the snake on the ground. As soon as the snake hit the ground, it pounced on Chase. The good thing is you can hide fast, or I'm going to get a bite. Fortunately, the snake finally relaxed. Chase wouldn't have caught the snake otherwise. But it's not as easy to catch a snake as a crocodile. The crocodile can just take the gun and go to God, and the snake still has to bag it and take it home. And 3 miles to the east, Troy and Bill have caught 4 snakes. The 2 hope to catch 1 before sunset. This will lighten the load on the back. Then Bill suddenly said beware of cottonmouth snakes. And this snake is also called a water pit viper. It's a very poisonous water snake. His venom prevents blood from clotting, causing massive internal bleeding. The snake is native to the southeastern United States. Then they found a giant python, and really big. Although this is the 5th python today, but catching him doesn't seem to be that easy. This is because of the hot weather today. It makes the boa poop so cranky, and the speed of its attack, even up to 70 milliseconds. although the snake's head was held down. But he's not ready to give up yet, constantly looking for an opportunity to attack Troy. Fortunately, both men are experienced. Otherwise, this despicable snake would have succeeded. And the snake didn't attack the photographer with martial arts. Then Troy noticed that Bill had an extra slit in his suit. The snake almost bit Bill just now. Good thing Bill had a flash. Otherwise, they can eat the table. After putting the snake in the bag, the two began their journey back to camp. And they were 3 miles away. Bruce and Zach caught 3 snakes too. But the two wanted more. But 2 people with no experience. It's very difficult to spot crocodiles. But they didn't want to go back. After a period of painstaking searching, the sun is going down soon. The two are still looking for the python. Then Bruce spotted the snake in the grass. The two set up a double team, blocking the python's escape route. It's still a long way off though, but Bruce is quick and threw it back. After catching this python, the pair also took a special look at the snake. The immediate result was endless humiliation. This snake is going to snap Zach's hand off. But it didn't work and ended up in a bag. And an 11-foot python like this, it can eat about a dozen small animals a year, plus that stupid boa constrictor. Countless animals disappear every year. When the sun was about to set, the hunters are meeting at the camp. They first counted the snakes they had caught. They caught 12 pythons. The total value is $4,200. It made me want to catch a snake again, although they caught a lot of them in a short time, but it falls far short of Bill's goal. It was immediately decided to start the fire and cook, and began to prepare for the night's battle. After Bruce had lit the fire, just help hold down the moving python, and Bill began to tear the skin off the snake. And this perfect snake skin, it's a good way to prove it to the government. The snake was killed by them. And then Chef Bruce. The meat of the snake is also being cut. It wasn't long before a meal of snake soup was ready. Looks good on the outside, just don't know how it tastes. Well, I got it from Troy's face. The smell is not flattering. And Troy gave it a -5. But don't know why. Chase ate it with gusto. Probably to trick the others. Then Bill began to talk too. Let's be careful not to spread ourselves too thin. Hunting at night is dangerous, especially if you're new to the area. It's easy to get lost in there. The quickly finished crowd, we're about to return to the swamp. And the reason they're hunting snakes at night, because snakes are more active at night than during the day. But there are other predators at night too. Not just snakes, but bears and leopards and crocodiles. It's vital that we all stick together when hunting at night. That's when Troy noticed something unusual. He got out of the car and ran without stopping. But while the crowd was chasing, Bill kept talking after him.
All right, you guys, we need to stick together.
It turns out Bill was the one who followed the fastest. Then they looked for the python under the night. And in these conditions, hunters have to be vigilant. In this oppressive atmosphere, Troy suddenly spotted the python. The two men immediately began to surround him and began to constantly provoke the python. After successfully capturing this python, the snake began to badger Bruce. They even started wrapping their necks. Good thing Troy was around. Didn't make it around Bruce's neck, but it scared the shit out of Bruce. After putting the python in the bag, once again the men split up to hunt, but everyone stays within earshot, in case one of them goes missing. Chase also spotted a python. As soon as he caught up, he grabbed the tail and pulled the snake backwards and backwards. Zach and Bill arrived just then. Nice to provide Chase with a bag. And this 10-foot python is bagged, which means they caught 16 pythons and received $5,800. Then the crowd parted. That's when Troy made another discovery. Looks like something ate a bird. That's when Bill and Zach found the snake. The two men rushed up immediately. When the other two teams heard the noise, I got there right away, and Bill and Zach on the other side, still fighting the python. That was a quick catch this time. Whoosh caught the python in his hands. After putting the snake in the bag, with this 12-foot python in the bag, the team has caught 19 snakes, just one away from the goal Bill set. That's when they realized they were missing someone. Chase wasn't even there. This made the crowd anxious and continuous cry. With all the wild animals around, the hunters must find Chase quickly. But for so long, still no response from Chase. It almost made Troy cry. That's his own son. If I fall and hurt myself, or fell into some kind of pothole. After 2 hours of searching, still no echo from Chase. So Bill decided to go back to camp, get out that amateur radio station, reach out for help, but Troy still wants to find it here. But neither Bill nor the others agreed. I don't want this team to be two. Troy heard this and had to go back. They walked back and called for Chase. So we slowly returned to the camp. But then I found him sitting right there. And Chase looks innocent and asks what happened. That's when Zach spotted 2 bags next to him. Chase then explained why he was at the camp. Turns out he was chasing the snake. We're chasing too far. The voices of the crowd were no longer heard. I had to make my way back to camp. Good thing Chase is okay, or else Troy would be in trouble. And today we surpassed that goal. Earned a total of $7,800. No one can even get $1,500. And that much money can help them very well transition to the next alligator season. Well, that's all for this program. Give it a thumbs up, and let's look forward to the next episode.